My husband had cancer for no how to do nice. Just sometimes a little humor
Get your
can
story
get you
out.
through.
I do think this is very important to get these kind of stories out there. On April 9th, 2022, I married my wife down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Beautiful, picturesque beach, and whales breached the water during our ceremony. We were surrounded by 60 of our closest friends and family. It was one of the most magical experiences I could ever imagine. We'd been together for 18 years before we got married. 2 months after that, I was diagnosed with cancer. So to every single dude in a backwards hat that said, "Don't do it, bro. Marriage is death." Noted. I wish you had been more specific. But that started me on a journey that I never expected to go on. When you find out you have cancer, you disassociate. A lot of things are going through your mind. And the way I handled it was I made a YouTube video telling the world that I had cancer. I didn't want to get sick in front of people and have people going, "Are you okay?" So I made a YouTube video just saying, "Hey, I have cancer." Now, what happens when you're a public figure and you make a YouTube video explaining you have cancer is somebody that you met many years ago will reach out to you and try to sell you a water filter. Because that is going to cure stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Funny enough, the same water filter was pitched to me for eczema many years ago. So if you guys aren't using this thing and you get sick, I don't know what to tell you. The worst part of cancer for me was not knowing what type of cancer I had. It took 3 months of testing to figure it out. I went through every test under the book. And finally, it came down to 2 possible options. I either had stage 4 head and neck cancer, very bad, or stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is bad but much more curable. And when my doctor found out it was lymphoma, he presented me this information in a very peculiar way. He walked into the room and just went, "Mr. Hooper, this is what we were hoping for." I wasn't hoping for this. I felt like he walked in the room, released doves, and was like, "It's cancer, baby!" What weird verbiage. This is what we were hoping for? If I'm hoping for things, I'm hoping chocolate ice cream has the same nutritional value as kale. I'm hoping people stop filming entire concerts with their phones while they stand in front of me. I wasn't hoping I had swollen lymph nodes. I was hoping a nymph would swallow my loads. We have different goals. I had to do 8 rounds of chemotherapy. It was the least fun drug I've ever done, and that includes salvia. It's basically the same thing. You just sit in a chair and drool for a while. Chemo was hard enough, and I was actually thriving through chemo, and I was really keeping my energy up to the point where people were actually questioning if I was sick. But November 17th, 2022, 5 days after my 4th treatment, I was feeling really out of it. I took a nap. When I woke up, my wife was sitting on the couch watching TV. I walked into our kitchen and I started peeing into the sink. Now, I used to get blackout drunk in college. I'm no stranger to peeing in a sink. But I didn't know what was happening. And my wife was like, "Alex, no, what are you doing? Not there, not there." And I was like, I'm sorry. I walked into her office and pissed all over the wall. I did my business in the place where she does her business. My wife immediately recognized something was wrong with me. I didn't think that was gonna get a laugh. You're sick fucks in here. That's what you are, guys. I was taken to the emergency room, and when I got there, I didn't know my name. I didn't know what year it was. I didn't know who the president was. Now, granted, the president doesn't know who the president is. So I think I should have gotten a pass on that question. I essentially just Mitch McConnell'd up there right in mid-sentence. I was like, my name is... What happened is I was having multiple embolisms at the same time. I was having a stroke. And when I was taken to the hospital, I found out I had sepsis. I didn't even know what sepsis was, and I didn't find this out until well after. But sepsis will kill 1 out of 5 people who get it today with modern medicine. 1 out of 5. That means if all 5 members of NSYNC got sepsis at the same time, it would be a bye-bye-bye to Joey Fatone. And you know it would be Fatone. His last name is literally Fat One. It's not going to be Timberlake. We need that guy. He's not going to be up there like, I'm bringing sepsis back. I was in the hospital for 33 days. 33 days. When I was taken, the doctor walked in and told my wife, brace yourself. We don't know how this is going to go. My wife and I, 1 month before, had a miscarriage. Nothing was going right in our lives at this point. And my wife had a 5-hour conversation with her sister discussing whether or not she would have my child since we had frozen sperm before I had chemo treatments. Isn't that a crazy thing to think about? I came to and found out she's like, I was thinking about having our child. I was like, what? Put me back in my delirium state, please. I'm not ready for this. I was in Hollywood Presbyterian, if anyone knows where that is, Sunset in Vermont. Their slogan is where homeless people go to scream. It's the loudest place I've ever been in my entire life. I was there for 33 days attempting to heal. There's a reason why rehab centers are in Malibu and they have names like Passages. And they smell essences of lavender, and they have healing waterfall sounds happening all the time. Hollywood Presbyterian was the sounds of crazy people losing their shit. And I was there in winter, when if they stub their toe, they come in there to get free drugs to get out of the cold. I used to think that I got heckled doing stand-up comedy. I've never been heckled like I watched nurses get heckled by psychotic people. I literally, people have said before, get off the stage. I've never had somebody throw a plate at me and go, give me my pill, bitch. So I was very nice to every nurse. Very, very nice. They would come in, I'd hear this commotion going on. They'd come into my room. I'd be like, hey, just so you know, I'm really sorry that you have to go through that. I think you're a very sweet person, and I'm glad you're here. And they'd be like, oh, my God, do you want an extra 0.5 milligrams of Dilaudid today? You are so sweet. Here you go, sugar. Get high. Thing I learned through that experience was chemo is medicine, but therapy is having a shared experience with a group of people. So as soon as I could, I started doing stand-up again. And because my port had gotten infected, which is how I went septic, I had a PICC line in my arm. And I was literally doing stand-up on stage with a PICC line in my arm, actively dying in front of people, trying to go up there and make some yucks. People were terrified. Terrified. But I kept telling myself, this is the only way that I'm going to get through this experience. Because dying was easy. Living is hard. And what they don't tell you when you get cancer is, above everything else, that it's scary and it's painful, it's fucking inconvenient. People talk about the years it takes off your life, and you think those are at the end. No, they're right fucking now. Every time I couldn't hang out with my friends, every concert that I had to watch go by, every stage that I couldn't be on because I am dying in a hospital. These are the things cancer took away from me. But I knew by keeping a positive mentality about all of this, telling myself, this is temporary, I will get through this, which is what I tell myself in every difficult situation. When I was trying to microdose and I took 3 tabs of acid accidentally, you tell yourself, I will get through this. When my wife pegged me for the first time, You tell yourself, this is painful, but I will get through this. There's so much that I feel like cancer took away from me, but at the same time, it brought a lot to me because I was very public about what I was going through. And I will say this. I have been on a lot of cancer podcasts, and I would not have been on those podcasts had I not gotten cancer. I did a set on Comedy Central about having cancer, and Comedy Central didn't give a shit about me for years. I got cancer, and they were like, you know what? Maybe this guy's worth looking into. Look, you guys are going to be presented with some amazing stories up here, and I can't thank you enough for being here, and to the American Cancer Society for putting this on. So thank you to Nicole, the Crow, and every single person that's going to share their story tonight. Thank you, guys.